Now, I don't really have a job where I can take paid time off, so I have to make sure that I still get stuff done and still have my businesses run during times where I'm off on a trip like this. And step one is to squeeze in some work wherever you can. So this morning I have 2 hours or so I'm heading to a trusted Starbucks. Cafes is a great option. There's always a place to sit, there's simply good Wi-Fi, you can get some nice drinks like a basic white girl, and get some work done. But being productive while you're traveling is all about squeezing out some work during those periods of time, or you do have some spare time in addition to everything else that you're doing. It doesn't have to be a cafe though, it could be something as simple as 15 minutes on the bed can get you some emails answered, for instance. But if you do have access to it, it's even better to get a nice table, such as borrowing someone else's setup just for the moment. But more often than not, it's gonna be a hotel room type setup, such as this one, where you have a nice table, just put your laptop, and that's about it. Don't underestimate this. As productive as you are at your home setup, where you have multiple monitors and super fast Wi-Fi, etc., you can still get a lot of stuff done here. And being productive while traveling is all about taking these moments and chances to actually get some work done. Like, for example, I worked a bit on the flight on the way here, 3 or so hours. Wasn't the most comfortable, wasn't ideal, but I still got that stuff done, and then that's one less task that I have to do later on. So that is the #1 thing to do when you're traveling. Just take these 1, 2, 3 hours where you're waiting for something to happen, or you're waiting to go out, or you're doing whatever, such as now. That's why I'm dressed like this. We're actually heading into Delhi in around an hour, so I took some moments to do some coding and record this video. Make use of those moments, make sure that you use those moments, and take that chance to be as productive as you can, so that you don't end up missing out on work that you could potentially get done. #2 is to get a setup that allows you to bring your productivity with you. So I have this camera, I have my iPhone, and I have my Mac. So this whole setup allows me to bring everything along and to get everything that I need to get done on the road. The Mac that I have is a Mac M2 Pro 16-inch, 16 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage. Plenty powerful for everything I need to do. You can edit videos on the go, you have battery the whole day. I can render apps, I can use the simulator inside of the laptop, so it gets all of the stuff done that I need to get done. But if, for example, if you're just writing Word documents, you can get something much lighter, such as a MacBook Air or a simple Windows laptop, for instance. But it all depends on the work and the stuff you're doing. So if you're doing video editing or programming and stuff like that, maybe you need something a little bit heavier that can manage your workload on the go. Because there's nothing more frustrating than having a setup or having tech that doesn't meet the requirements of what you're trying to achieve. So get a setup like this, make it portable, or make sure it's portable if you're traveling a lot. For example, don't go and get a Mac Mini just because it's cheap and nice. I did this before, but then you can't work as you're on the go. #3 is to get an eSIM. An eSIM is something that you purchase on your phone, and it's completely digital. You don't need to get one of these SIM cards and put it into your phone, and it's super good for traveling. An eSIM allows you to be a little bit more flexible in regards to where you do work. So for example, now I'm seated outside in a nice park. I'm connected through my phone to the 5G network here, and then I'm sharing that to my computer. And I'm not really dependent on Wi-Fi, I'm not really dependent on anything else. I can just find whatever comfortable space there is, bang out 30 minutes of work in that particular place. And the thing with eSIMs is that they're not that expensive. I bought, I think, 25 gigabytes here in India for $10, and I guess that will also vary a little bit depending on where you are. But that's a great tip and a great hack for whenever you're traveling. Get a cheap eSIM, and you won't have to rely on Wi-Fi and anything else to get your work done. Relaxation is important, and it's good for you in moderation, but if you are like me, you have a business or you have businesses that need to be run, you can't really take some paid time off and let someone else do it, then of course you will need to do some work. So like I said before, take some time where you're not relaxing, but also make sure that when you're on vacation, if you're on vacation, take some time to relax. If you're not on vacation, if you're traveling for work, for instance, then just grind it out, man. Do as much as you can. But make sure you take those hours and times in between to get stuff done, maybe sneak away a little bit, do some work, etc. Next, make sure to be structured with your time. So this applies all the time, but especially when you're traveling. So for example, if you have a schedule and you know that this day, these things typically need to be done, and you will have to get done with that every Thursday morning, for instance. Maybe it's some report you gotta send, maybe it's some build you gotta upload to App Store Connect. But make sure that you're still adhering to this while you're traveling by scheduling this beforehand. So say you're planning out your Thursday and you say, okay, this Thursday, which happens to be today, we're going on a day trip to Delhi city center, where from 12 to around 9 o'clock in the evening, we're gonna be gone. So then I can schedule my day around this. So I take some hours in the morning to do some coding on the events page for Parenthood that I'm currently working on. Then I take an hour or two to record some footage, some video for the vlog, as well as this video that you're watching right now. And then I have the entire afternoon or a later part of the day without having to worrying about getting these tasks done because they're already done. Write them down beforehand so you know what you have to do and you know when you have to do it by. For example, I use my Notion template that I've created, the Operator OS, in order to get all of these things done and written down. And I can also take notes if I get ideas while I'm on the go on my phone, for instance, or I can look into the task, what I'll have to do tomorrow, what I still have to do today. If you want this Notion template, you can get it for free down below. It's completely free of charge. Just input your email and I'll send it to you. So nice, right? It's called the Operator OS. And speaking of Operator OS, I actually have a community on School that you can also join. It's also completely free. I share some tax advice, I share some business building advice, and it's just a general community for like-minded individuals who want to build cool things and do fun stuff. But whatever floats your boat, make sure you structure your time and make sure you write down the things that you have to do and make it realistic, make it achievable, and make it time-bound. Lastly, where it's possible, try to delegate as many of your tasks as possible. So for instance, I have a couple of businesses. One of them that I run is Arboristbutiken. Right now, as you may have met them before in these vlogs, or the vlogs that I make, Frida and Vidar are two people who work in Arboristbutiken. So now they're actually doing a lot of the stuff that I typically do. So they do all of the ordering, they do all of the deliveries of stuff, they do some social media things, and I don't really have to worry about much of that. I still have to do some stuff, like some reporting stuff, some of the emails that come to me personally, but a large part of my day I've actually delegated to them too over this week that I'm gone. And this can apply to you if you have employees, but also if there's stuff that you can hire someone on Fiverr to do, for instance. So maybe you have a virtual assistant who could take on some other stuff. And this can save you some time, and also if you're in a different time zone, it keeps the regular flow of things from a customer perspective. But it also saves you some mental energy of having to worry about, oh shit, do I need to do that? Or have I done that today, etc. So make sure if you can, and if you're willing to, and if you're able to, delegate as many of your tasks as possible over the time period that you're out traveling, so that your machine as a whole can remain as productive as possible. Now, those are my tips for being productive when you're traveling. I'm sure there's a lot of other things you can do, but this is my general approach. I like to keep it as quite as simple, quite as minimalistic as possible. But you can also, of course, go and hire a remote setup or a remote office that you can walk into, for instance. Or if you're traveling for business, maybe you have access to an office where you can have a more dedicated hours and a more dedicated life. That is going to be it for this video. All of the resources that I've mentioned in this video will be available down below. Please check them out. If you like these types of videos, then feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. It's a bargain, I know. And now I'm actually going to head into Delhi city center, which you'll be seeing about in this vlog. So if you like that type of stuff, then also subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.